Greetings, one and all. The question asked is, was this a good year for film? Well, I'm getting myself comfortable here. Let me ask the Magic 8 Ball. Magic 8 Ball. Oh, magic, sweet Magic 8 Ball. Was this year good for movies? Was 2018 a good year for movies? What the hell is this going to say? Better not tell you now. No. The question is, was this year good for movies? Outlook, good. Oh, Magic 8 Ball, will I ever get an Asian chick in my life? Don't count on it. Piece of shit. So anyways, from my own perspective, was 2018 a good year for movies? I mean, there's been some good flicks. There's been some bad flicks. For the past, since 2015, since I've been reviewing film on camera or doing these type of lists, I've been pretty much saying the same exact thing. It's been okay. I mean, again, there's been some good shit, there's been some bad shit, but overall, it's been up and up. There's been some films that's been having folk on the opposite ends where they'll like or don't like. There's been folk who absolutely loves these type of films, hates these types of films. So, and the thing is, with this year, there's been a lot of surprises that came out, and sure enough, there is. I mean, surprises like Alpha, Upgrade, Game Night, Blockers, Crazy Rich Asians. There's been a lot of surprises out there with film. Overlord, SpiderMan into SpiderVerse. Well, from everyone else, that wasn't much of a surprise, but for me, it was. So this year, the best way I can say is it's been full of surprises. A film that you thought was going to be turned into shit, but ended up being quite nice. So it's that year again. It's that year-round thing where any person in the YouTube film community gathers their either top 5 or top 10, top 15 or top 20, whatever it is that they're doing. But for me, I'm doing a top 10. Gathering up a bunch of movies that I absolutely thought, for me, was best of the year. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I, Mr. Garrison, am giving you all my top 10 best movies of 2018. To start this off, I'm going to give you all my top 7 honorable mentions. But before I do that, open up me a nice can of sun-kissed orange pop. Tasty. Like a titty. So, as for my honorable mentions, again, I have top 7 here, and these are movies that were on the best of the year list, and there are some that didn't quite make it. But ranging from all these movies, from 7 to 1, are my honorable mentions that I gave a 4.75 out of 5 to. So here are my top 7 honorable mentions. We got Black Panther, Love, Simon, Upgrade, Demon House, Alpha, Mary Poppins Returns, and Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet. So a nice little bundle of films right there to start off this honorable. So ladies and gentlemen, let us begin the top 10. So So starting off the list for number 10 is a movie that was a sequel to the first one that came out a couple years ago. And the first one was an incredible adaptation for a continuing saga, but with a whole new light to it. So we all know the story of Rocky Balboa, the incredible fighter that he is, going up against guys like Apollo Creed, Clubber Lang, and Ivan Drago, to name some of the biggest ones out there. But majority of the time, the infamous one is Ivan Drago, and in this movie, he comes back with redemption that he wants to get against Rocky Balboa, and it was perfectly explained in this movie why he wanted redemption, because his reputation was ruined thanks to that fight with Rocky. So here comes his son Victor to face off against Apollo Creed's son. So my number 10 is Creed 2. The movie itself was a glorious piece of work to see, and I was quite surprised with the turn of events that happened. For this being a sequel to Rocky IV, if that's the best way to explain it, it truly was something of a huge-ass surprise and a really solid sequel. At first I gave the movie a 4.5 out of 5, but after watching it again and realizing, damn, this movie's that fucking good, I absolutely loved it a lot more. So I actually had to change it to a 5 out of 5 because I really dug the hell out of this movie watching it again. So, and it was lucky enough to take out my original number 10. So for this case, Creed 2 was lucky enough to reach it for this particular spot right here. And there you go. That is number 10. Number 9. We are heading into the animation world right now. We got all those great animated films that came out. You have Wreck-It Ralph 2, you have SpiderMan Into the SpiderVerse, and you have this movie right here. This film might be in a lot of folks' top 5 or top 6, you may never know, but for me, it's my number 9. This is another sequel, continuing off the story from the first one. This was the long-awaited sequel that everyone's been returning. This is the movie that everyone saw as a little kid, and this is surely one of those Disney films where it was made for the adults who's been waiting for this for a long-ass time. It was absolutely hilarious. It was a joyous movie to watch. Definitely kept a smile on my face throughout the whole entire thing. Entertaining as all can be, and it was a really nice rendition of seeing some brand new superheroes with some really creative and unique powers, and the enemy alone I thought was quite creative. So my number 9 is The Incredibles 2. Amazing sequel, definitely worth watching, good time, and it does pick up exactly where it left off with the end, where they were facing off against the fucking rodent thing, or whatever the hell that was. And then some, continuing off with a new adventure, and let me tell you right now, yes, Elastigirl is thick. So there you go. That's my number 9. My number 8, we are getting into a movie where the Oscars are going to be screaming. Now, everyone's saying, oh, this is Rami Malek's award for Best Actor. And, yeah, but the thing is, to me, this ain't Rami Malek's award as much as I enjoyed him as Freddie Mercury when it came to the live performances. But I love this performance a lot more because Bradley Cooper is the guy who deserves to win Best Actor, or this can win for Best Picture. You may never know when that little time comes around. So, my number 8 is surrounding a music film with, again, Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, and let me tell you right now, this hands down goes for best duo of the whole entire year. Hell, best duo of this entire decade, because these two nailed the performances out of the ballpark, and the story alone was truly something of a motivation, inspiration, following your dreams, and it was definitely something that really hits your heart well enough, and it was just wow. And for this being a remake after remake after remake, this is definitely the best one, minus the one that was with Judy Garland, I think, if memory speaks. So my number 8 is A Star Is Born. The movie itself is truly incredible. I loved the absolute hell out of it. It was just a roller coaster of emotions. It definitely something that tells you to follow your dreams in a most creative and unique emotional way. Number 7. Now this one right here is a bit of a weird one to put on a top 10 list. Because the thing is, I never put documentaries on my top 10 list at all. The last time I put a documentary on my top 10 list was around 2011 or 2012. I can't remember what it was when I put George Harrison's Living in the Material World on that one in my top 5. So it has definitely been a little while since I put a documentary on my list, and this right here was in my top 5 for a while until it was time to see some other movies, and truly enough, this is still in the top 10 and well deserved. That is none other than, well, if you can tell by the sweater here, even though it's not red, but still, it is a documentary that is full of emotions, inspiration, just like I said with my number 8, saying it again for this one, emotions, inspiration, heart-touching, and overwhelming with such passion, such love, and such tenderness. And that is Won't You Be My Neighbor. The documentary alone, if you haven't grown up with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, I know you are, but one of my, I don't know where you've been, because Mr. Rogers taught us a lot of things. He taught us a lot of problems with what goes on in the social world, and how he incorporates that in a children's program of how everyone should be friendly to each other, show more love, not hate. And Fred Rogers alone was truly a swell, beautiful person. So there you go, that's my number 7. Alright, number 6. We are getting into that time where it's another animated film, but we are going to be talking specifically about superheroes. Now, I know I keep telling everybody I'm not really big into superheroes that much because it's not really my type of following or trend that I'm into. But there are a couple superheroes that I do enjoy looking at. I enjoy Superman. I enjoy a little Batman. I like a little bit of the Flash. Green Lantern, just the comics, not movie-wise, but comics of the Green Lantern. Captain America, I mean, hello. And this is a superhero that I don't mind so much, and that is Spider-Man. Now, we all know the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, 1, 2, and 3. We all know number 3 was bad, number 2 was number 1 was actually quite nice. Then we had that one with the Amazing Spider-Man, whatever the fuck it was, I didn't even see it. Then we had this new Spider-Man that came out, Spider-Man Homecoming, which was a solid film. And there hasn't really been that many solid Spider-Man movies I've seen within my own viewing of this particular hero. But when I saw this one, Jared Poirier, he's the guy who told me to see this movie, and I was not originally going to see it because it wasn't on my radar, but I saw it anyway just to put a cork in his butthole. This right here was definitely a worth watch, and my god, it actually reminded me a bit of Kubo and the Two Strings. The animation alone did remind me of that, because I thought it was almost a spot-on match, but with Kubo, that was a stop motion. I can't really figure out what kind of animation this one was, so, folks, let me know down below the type of animation this was, because I would really want to know. But anyways, this is hands down the best Spider-Man movie I've seen. And number 6 is Spider-Man Into the SpiderVerse. It was a wild fucking ride, an epic journey and an adventure to behold a whole new light and aspect of who Spider-Man is, going off into the dark abyss, into that Spider-Verse, and going off on this adventure that was truly, wow, a roller coaster, and has you on the edge of your seat, has you on your tippy toes, your fucking buttholes sweating, your nipples are erecting. It is crazy as hell, this movie, and wow, definitely the best animated film of the year, the best animated film of the year, and, well, for others, it can say it's the best superhero movie, but for me, I beg to differ. You'll find out later in the list, but right now, that was my number 6. Number 5. Now, with this one, I can't really give anything away due to the fact that it is a movie that you have to go in blind, and still to this very day, I'm still not going to say a word of giving out any plot, any detail, or anything about it, especially right now. This film was something unlike anything I would see, and this is another movie I went in blind. And yes, folks, I didn't know an Asian girl was in it. So anyways, with my number 5, this how they were able to make this movie like a found footage type of deal. This was something. This was just a watch, and how a person will go above and beyond to go through social media to find their kid who was reportedly kidnapped. I just gave it away right there. I'm a contradicting asshole. But still, the movie alone with that type of plot and going above and beyond to do anything to find their kid, no matter what risks it'll take, whether it's going to be deadly or not, it was something. So number 5 for me is Searching. It was a wild ride, epic journey. And seeing how this film happened, it was unpredictable. You would never know what was going to transpire in this movie. So, that's my number 5. Number 4. This is just a continuation of those wild epic journey films, and this is another continuing sequel to a really good up and down franchise. Now, Ethan Hunt, that name sounds familiar. Tom Cruise, that name sounds familiar. Number 4, Mission Impossible Fallout. The movie itself, a continuation into this franchise, with how dedicated Tom Cruise is performing his own stunts, creating such high-risk daredevil, Evel Knievel, son of a bitch in scenes like that. It truly shows how dedicated Tom Cruise is into the film industry and how he was able to make this. It was just beyond belief. So he's pretty much the Buster Keaton of action films. So alone, the film itself was a wild goose chase. That's the best way I can say it. It's a wild goose chase. So number 4 is that. Alright, number 3. This is going to be a lot of people's number 1s or number 2s or hell in the back. Whatever. But for me, this is my number 3, and it's actually a deserving spot. This was my number 2 for a long time, but no. Number 3 is the spot. So, we all know who Thanos is. The big purple bastard. The powerhouse motherfucker who was able to get the Infinity Gauntlet, and with the snap of his fingers, that's it. So, with this movie, and yes, my number 3 is Avengers Infinity War. The movie made sense with everything that was transpiring. This shows you that Thanos is the best villain of all time in the MCU universe. It shows how much of a dominant force he really is and what he's able to do with the snap of his fingers, and everything that transpired with the casting, the cinematography, the visual effects, the score, the dilemmas that happened to a lot of the superheroes that really crushed your heart to pieces. Especially with hearing the word dad. I think you'll know what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. If you haven't, then you won't know what I'm talking about. But still, this film was just an amazing, amazing piece. And I am actually looking forward to Endgame, see how that's going to turn out. So, Avengers Infinity War is my number 3. Alright, number 2. Oh boy, this is where the subjectiveness of me comes right into play. Now, I'm just going to be subjective for this one and the next one because I feel like it's necessary, because when I'm subjective, I never shut the fuck up. So, let me just talk about this real quick. This is going to be quite a surprise to a lot of folk out there who would be thinking, man, why was this really your number 2? I'll tell you exactly why. It's the best horror movie of the year. This is that movie that does classic nostalgic with a modern twist, adding on to it done right in the horror genre. It has two sides of both the good character and the bad character, the two backgrounds leading up to that final confrontation, how that transpired was so unexpected and truly incredible witness. And I don't understand why people are hating on this movie after viewing it a couple times. As a movie, it's doing great. I mean, as a movie, it is great. Still. But let me tell you, dude, when I was watching this, it was just the vibe of John Carpenter, dude. But no, it wasn't Carpenter who did it. It was David Gordon Green. So yeah, my number 2 is David Gordon Green's Halloween, the continuation of what transpired in the second Halloween? No, the first Halloween. Anyways, it's a continuation of what transpired of the original story, continuing on many years later. Jamie Lee Curtis came back to reprise her role as Laurie Strode, and the original dude who plays Michael Myers is back, and goddamn, the original Michael Myers attire, mask. Jamie Lee Curtis has become much more of a badass than she was in the 80s. Well, late 70s actually, but I'm calling 80s because it was getting into that time period. And my God, so many things have changed. Michael Myers has become much more of a badass. Same with Laurie Strode. And truly, it was a spectacle to behold because it really holds the suspense. It holds that tension. It holds that creepiness that holds up. And you wonder exactly what Michael's going to do to his victims. And a lot of the vintage kills that transpired in the original Halloween, a lot of them were in this, but with a new modern twist adding on to it. So this film was creative as hell. Definitely the best musical score of the whole entire year. I fucking loved it. It definitely gave me that John Carpenter vibe, and David Gordon Green really nailed it out of the ballpark, keeping that particular vibe in this movie. Truly, hands down, an outstanding piece to watch that really continues the classic definition of vintage 80s horror. I love it. So there you go. Number 2. Alright, number 1. Do I even need to say what number 1 is? Do I even need to bother? I think a visual will be enough. I mean, that alone right there should tell you something, folks. Just looking at that should tell you something. What does that tell you right there, folks? What does that tell you? What my number 1 is? Here. What does that tell you? What my number 1 is? I don't even need to say anything. I really don't need to say a damn word. Because I'll never shut the fuck up and this best list will never end. That's my number 1 right there. Ready Player One. The film that was filled to the brim with Easter eggs from the 1980s pop culture. With a simple story of a dude who lets out a contest. Whoever finds that precious gem in the oasis gets the grand prize. High speed chase, action packed, thrilling adventure of a one man like Steven Spielberg can bring to life in such a movie. And wow, the film is absolutely colorful. It's absolutely a goldmine. It's a masterpiece. I never say that word about movies these days. I hardly do. But Ready Player One is a fucking masterpiece. It really is a masterpiece. It's one of the rare films of this decade I gave a 6 out of 5 to. It is a true fucking gem of epic proportion. I'll say it again in this video. This movie made me cry in a good way because I think it was Austin, it was Tubby, all my buddies been telling me, dude, this movie spoke to you as who you are as a person. This movie was your long lost message in a bottle love letter. And damn right they are correct. Because this movie was my long lost message in a bottle love letter. Yes, I'm sending out an SOS. That film spoke to me who I am as a person. It was understanding. It is a film I related to so much. subjectively, here I go again, but the movie, wow. Just watching and seeing it in the 4K Ultra DVD, colorful as all hell, dude. I absolutely loved it in the 4K. If you haven't seen Ready Player One, folks, where the hell have you been? You got to see it. So there you go, folks. That right there is my top 10 best movies of 2018. So let me know down below, what is your top 10 best films of 2018? And as always, ciao for now and stay tuned for the next video as I go over my top 10 worst movies, my shit list of 2018.